Where you been? I thought you'd been. Yeah. Been at all the other. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
It's nice to have a press room, isn't it? Yeah, good.
There's just some good old faces here.
Yeah.
Some good. I don't mean it like that. I just mean from a time gone by. I don't. Yeah. From a night. I mean, I'm feeling it. I've been there right with you, right? So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Okay, then let's get started. Marc Skinner for our post-match press conference. Who'd like to kick us off? Go on, please.
Mark, Arsenal, tactically they do go between a back three and a back four, but they started Kim Little kind of over to the left and Russo over to the right, which they haven't really done before. Did that surprise you, and how did you kind of cope with that in game?
Obviously, look, it's the quality, Tim. I think of the players really. Like you utilise them for their skill set rather than the shape. Really, of course, it pulls you out, but Kim's running power is top from that position, so she can go behind your back line. The thing is, as Man United, you could easily go into a back five, right, and nullify the threat, but we had to shift between that shape anyway. But we're Man United and we've got to attack. So sometimes you've got to leave that overload, take the risk, and try and utilise it the other way, because although they did that in attack, I also felt they were quite vulnerable when we went through them. So he's opened that to attack, which is absolutely fine. But from our perspective, if we'd have faced forward a little bit quicker in the first half and just taken that driving space, I think we would have opened them up a lot more. And that's something maybe we'll look on and reflect. But to be honest, like we've literally had probably about 10 training sessions together as a collective. So we're going to grow and we're going to get better at that. But they gave everything tonight, and I'm so happy with them from that. Thank you, mate. Yes, mate.
Obviously, a point is a point, but does that feel like a defeat given the manner of it?
We always go through this rhetoric, don't we? Does it feel like a defeat? Look, I think when you hit a shot like that from that distance, it's going to feel like a win for them. You could see a little bit of pressure on Jonas's face because the way he celebrated. I think you can be proud of the performance, right? It's a top game. What I felt like tonight was a top game. It was strewn with some errors from both teams. It wasn't as free-flowing as I'm sure Arsenal would want to be. It wasn't as free-flowing as we would have wanted to be. But you know what we did? Both tried to win the game. And look, we haven't won it tonight, but we've come a long way where Arsenal are celebrating like that at the end. Like, they're the historic team of this league, and they're celebrating like that at the end because it meant a lot to get a point at Manchester United now. And that's the big level we've come to. And long may that continue in other games. They might win it, we might win it. But it's the level now, isn't it? I think the top games, the top teams, I'm sure you see it against Man City, Chelsea, the weekend. It could go either way. It might be different this year, Susan, than it has been before.
How happy are you with the substitutions? Obviously, Mallard and after coming on and combining for the goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and people talk a lot about my rotation and so on, but reality is that when you've got the quality of those players to bring into the game, you can start different systems once we get used to each other. We can play different ways, but when they come on, it was you know what it was, Susie? It was they showed instinct. It was instinct. So Mal reads the gap, Hini finds the space. Like, it's instinct of top players. And look, we've got that in players, but we've also had to create that in others. Whereas now we're starting to get the players that can actually do those in the top games, and that's exciting for me. Thank you.
JC obviously brought off again, maybe looking a little bit tired as well at that time in the game. Yeah. How far is she off full fitness so she can play a full 90?
Yeah. I think. Look, the reality is modern day football. If you play full 90, you better still be running as hard as you can at 90, right? Otherwise, what's the point? I think the game is becoming so, especially as now if we do progress in Europe, which is an extremely hard tie, but you're going to have games. So you might go 70s and 20s and inject that energy you saw at the end. Arsenal was still able to inject that. So I think we have to look at the game slightly differently now. It's not just about collecting the 90 badge. I think it's about being effective for the minutes that you're on. And I thought JC, we've grown her minutes again. She's not quite ready. She's come from a league where it's not as transitional. They build up in shorter passes, so you can press your pressing structures higher. And we've spoken about this with that. There's also right now a little bit of a language barrier of when to drop, when to rest, and it's those instinct things that you've got to get rid of. But from my perspective, I'm so happy with the quality she has. She's a handful for anyone, and she will be. 90 ready, probably next 5 or 6 games, and then you'll see the very, very best of her. But what you'll also see is relationships where she's in the right spaces at the right times. We've not quite got that yet, and yet we still put 2 performances out like that, so I'm really happy with the team.
Yes.
Hello, mate.
Can I just ask you about the dynamic of the first line, obviously Mark?
Yeah.
Time in the technical area, so how are you sort of doing things a little bit different because you were up there a lot tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I just to be honest, Jay, if you've ever watched me in my other clubs, I've always been up. The reality was that when you come to a club like Manchester United, there's more to manage, right? So sometimes in Orlando, I used to sit up in the director so I can see the game. In England, the fans, players tend to like your energy on the sideline, whether you say good, bad or indifferent, Jay, to be honest. From my perspective, I love giving energy to players. I see the game quickly anyway. It was just Martin did that last year because it was just part of the task that we'd set each other, so I could view the game from a different perspective. So I see it from the game's got rhythm as well as it's got tactics. For example, the game swings in momentum. Arsenal swung in momentum, scored the goal, and they were in momentum again. You've got to try and break that. So I've got to see the game in different formats. I've got tactical feed from upstairs. I've got tactical feed from the side. So reality is, Jack, I quite like it.
Just ask about the first way. You kind of mentioned it a little bit, but you seem to get quite frustrated at period in the first half where the defence seemed to be passing back and forth, and then there was that little break, and you were quite animated, and then right before you scored, it was almost like, as you say, do it quickly, and then the ball went over the top.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the message you can say in that?
Yeah, in all honesty, Jay, it was like we had 2 pockets in front of their back 3. They didn't want to come in with us. So they'd come in a bit late, and then it opens other pockets for us to run through. But from our perspective, we've just got to utilise the space. We just needed to face forward and face them because their jumps they're slow. So we could have gone in and out of the pitch quickly. So for me, it's about our players taking responsibility in those final thirds to face forward and attack the opponent, because Manchester United is about attacking. So it was a frustration because I felt that we could have just been braver in our decisions at times. Second half, we got that. And you've got tactical brains on our field that can manipulate. They were jumping late. If you face them up and beat the press, you can get through their lines quickly. And then Arsenal drop because they're scared of the pace we've got with their less mobile back line. And so we just didn't utilise, so that was where my frustration lay. Thank you, mate.
Yes.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, mate.
I know we're like 1.5 games in. Obviously, you've had 2. Chelsea only had 1, but all the top 3 from last season have already conceded.
Yes.
Certainly feels from watching those games that the defences are maybe there to get at. You've talked a lot about, you want United to attack, you want to be brave.
Yeah.
How important is that going to be this season? Maybe you are going to concede, but you've got to be brave.
I think
everyone is kind of available to get at.
I actually think, I think it makes for a more exciting league, to be honest. Look, we prize our defensive record from last year, but the reality is in big games, is that if somebody turns up and puts one in the top corner from 30 yards, that's the quality now. And if the quality increases, you're going to see less clean sheets, right? So I think for me, it's about, if you're keeping less clean sheets, you've got to score goals. And so we've scored 4 in 2. So, and that's without us even being cohesive. You can clearly see, right, times when we should be in the box, when we haven't got that. But that's just time together. So, JC, the box is here when Tooney's in the pocket, for example. When our wide forward comes in, the other wide forward can invade. So we have to get players in the box. Then you'll sustain attacks longer. I felt that once we got into the Zal line and the Haley line, sometimes we overlooked and tried to go too direct at times. We could have gone in one more and then played side little passes, which would have opened up their back 5 or 3. So, but from my perspective, I think it's going to be more exciting. I want to get back to clean sheet records, but we've got a tough start, right? Had Villa away and got Arsenal at home, PSG, Leicester and PSG. That's a tough start without a team that's fully yet on the same page. But once we do, I would be very frightened of what we can achieve. But it might just take us a little bit of time. But you should be excited, mate.
Simon.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, mate.
Unfortunately, in terms of the Arsenal scoring late on that result for United, how Mallard
it's great.
particularly now as you're going to be facing PSG
Yeah.
and what have you. So how pleasing is it to see the newer signings just settling in a bit quicker?
It's great. It's also phases, right? What I felt Mal did super well was that she knew when to drop in and how to drop in. She knew she could be a physical presence, and then it's an attacking threat, of course. But what it allows me to do is see things a little bit differently. And in the games coming up, you're almost pre-planning what your team might look like, because we're going to have to rotate and we're going to have to make different changes. So allowing them to get minutes like Mal today was also a foresight of games to come, so that we can introduce it to the team. Hinny will be absolutely wonderful once she gets into the understanding of how we play. It takes longer than 2 games. So I think what we've done in the recruitment side this year is added quality. And we needed quality where I felt we got the best team in this league. What I mean by that is we've got the most together team. We connect, we fight for each other, we fight for our fans. But we also needed more quality to win games when maybe that's not the case, or when we maybe concede we've got to score. Well, look at Mal's instinct today, and that's what you get when you get top players through the door. Thank you, mate.
Okay, thank you, Athletic. Is that a smartwatch that you've got on?
This is a smartwatch, yeah.
Did it tell you to calm down the last 20 minutes?
Do you know what? I've also got an Aura ring on, which tests your heart rate and so on, because you've got to look after yourself now. Yeah, do you know what it is though? I don't think you want us to calm down.
No, but did it tell you?
I mean, I didn't have the only thing is connected to my phone, and my phone's in the inside, so it's probably going to tell me I've had a heart attack or something. But I'm sure you look. You all want a hero, you all want a villain, because that's what sells stories. But from my perspective, like seeing the passion from both coaches on the sideline is what our fans need, right? It's about igniting the game if it goes into a lull, because they've run a lot out there today. There's a lot of energy given. So yeah, look, I'm hopeful I can be more calm in future when we've got more control. But right now, I'm just gonna have to muddle our way through.
And I know obviously she's not your player anymore, but Alessia Russo, we saw her coming out a lot deeper role than she's played at times. What did you make of the different role that she was playing today to maybe we've seen her before when she's had a back to goal previously maybe?
Yeah, in all honesty, I think that's probably her best way of playing. I'm surprised they haven't picked it up quicker, because Alessia doesn't really... I know there's a lot said about Alessia's running in behind. There's not a lot of it. It's not that much. Running to the side maybe, but not in behind beating a player. And she will add to that, of course, as she gets older. But, I mean, she's not my player anymore, so she's not mine to coach. But what I will make sure is that, obviously, when I talk about my forwards, they'll have the ability to go beyond and in front. And I think that will add extra qualities and extra layers than we potentially had last year.
Anyone else?
Amy, come on, man. I've given you some tactical stuff in there. You usually give me a tactical one.
I'll give you an easy one.
Go on.
I thought Billy Turner was brilliant tonight.
Yeah.
There were so many moments, kind of Arsenal broke through and she was there, big block, big
Yeah.
on the line. What did you make of her performance and just how big she was?
Yeah, look, and you know what she's wonderful at? She's wonderful at the defending of the box when the ball comes in. I think like she adds a real level of that for us. I think we're disappointed with the first goal because, was it Stina scored? Yeah, Stina's only really got a right foot to play with, right? So we've got to take that right foot off. And that's the reality. She's a really good player and she drives in behind. She's got a lot of quality. But what I mean is she only really tends to use her right foot, and so she's wrapping around. So we needed to release the centre-half quicker, and Millie and Maya then go 1-for-1. And I'm disappointed at that goal, and I think they are. But from our perspective, I felt that we defended lots of situations. I mean, the header where Arsenal, if she doesn't track, Arsenal probably score in the centre of the goal. Like, there's loads of those little moments. And no, let's be honest. You got it against Arsenal, against the big teams, you got to defend. And I felt that they did that really, really well in a lot of moments tonight.
Anyone else? That's one question we're waiting for.
I'm waiting.
No?
Go on then. You mentioned to Susie right at the start that we talk a lot about substitutions you make when you make them.
Yeah.
It feels, and I can't attest to watching every Man United game and you're coaching for, but this season so far, 2 games in, you're making those substitutions a little bit earlier, you're going to the bench more, you've definitely got more depth this season. I'm just wondering sort of
is that growth, or is that because you can, or what you did last season with the late goals, or is it just because we always talk about how players grow throughout their career?
Yeah.
Managers have to as well. So
Wow.
is that introspection from you, or is it just
Wow.
depth?
I should have left the lid on that question, right? No, it's a really good question. I think it's a little bit of all of those. There's a little bit of, like, for example, of course I grow. I learned from last year. Probably, please, or especially because I'll see your faces again. Last year I didn't need to rotate. We had the best season we've ever had. We were 2 points off winning the league. We were cheated at Chelsea when we should have had 2 penalties. So from my perspective, I didn't really need to last year. But adding to that, I've now got quality. What I would do if we do progress in Europe, again, extremely difficult tie. But if we do progress, I would absolutely need to rotate my squad and rotate, because they've already seen, like tonight, Millie's disappointed because they've took the game late and got a point. But you got to pick your mind up quickly, and you got to go into a next game that's about 2 days away. We've got 2 days prep, and we're ready to play. So I think it's a little bit of everything. Also, so believe it or not, I've got a little bit of common sense. I know from working with my team, sometimes, I know from working with my team who is ready. Like right now, there are players like that have not played yet that will be ready in 5, 6, 7 games time. Luthia will be miles better this season because she's had a season of understanding, and it's took her a season. There's also language barriers. I'm not very good at Spanish. So there's the human factors, right? And we don't always get to see behind the scenes of the human factors. And that's my job, is to manage the right time to introduce them. Today, Mel's ready, right? Hinny's ready, but she might not be ready for the whole amount. So you've got to inject them late or do it early and make early changes. So I think I've hopefully answered that. It's a little bit of everything, and good reflection from you. Nice philosophical scope.
Just on that language barrier, because I think we saw.
I've started an hour now.
Jay-Z had a translator. I think you've got one for Hinata.
Yeah.
I assume maybe a leader as well. So you've got a few different languages going on, a few different. Is it just as a coach trying to express your ideas? Like they do say that football's universal. Just what's it kind of like trying to juggle that and make sure everyone's sort of settled and comfortable, because it can be quite a culture shock for some people from France.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think, look, you don't just, everybody has a football language, but actually in different countries they play a different style of football. And so there is a common theme that we're playing football, but actually if I'm used to always getting the ball short and playing, and now I've got to go long, it's a culture shock. What I think our team have done fantastically well is integrated everybody as a person. Our team are the best at that. So soon they don't sit on their own. They eat together. They eat with different people every day. It's a fully integrated squad. But also there's a lot of really amazing. Their understanding of English is pretty amazing already. Like JC right now is the one that we need to keep getting up to speed, but she's learning so quickly. And I think what she does do, and once she gets the instinct of how we play, honestly, she's going to be absolutely ridiculously frightening. She's going to scare people. And that's what I've signed her for. I want to win now. I want to win these games. But I'm also a realist and going, right, it's going to take a bit of time for some people.
For the record, Spanish is easier to learn than Portuguese, if you want.
Maybe so. Is that so? Okay, maybe I can go down that route.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Great to see you all. Have a safe travel back. All right. Thank you. See you later.